casualties aren't quick. You sure? Once we're done. All right. Then we got a lot to do.
Since you are here to bolster Kunda's defense, I will hurry to the mercenary camp and delay their assault however I can.
I imagine that the mercenaries have got two goals in this whole thing. Kill me and kill the administrator. The rest of the settlers won't have courage to resist if they succeed. The administrator's locked up in her office tight, which means that the mercs have to go through us and Kunda's defenses. It isn't gonna be easy. I suspect we're gonna have to fight on the inside. They've got 3 entrances they're gonna try and break in. Here's the front door, the security door on the side, and the garage door in back. We got 3 squads of militia. We can assign people to the front, back, or inside. Backside has to guard 2 entrances. The front will have to fight more people, and the inside will have to deal with any that break through. So, where do you think the first squad should be deployed? The battles that had the least dying were always led by Jedi. I'm gonna go with what you think. Where do you want the 2nd squad? Alright, where do you want the 3rd squad, the new recruits? Fine by me. The last question is, where do you want to go? Either the front or the back. I'll take whichever one you don't. That way both sides have leadership. That's what I was thinking too. The main group of mercenaries will be coming through there. Probably be good to put our best soldier there. Once the fighting starts, you gotta stay in your area. Both have to guard our half of the battlefield. Come over to me and the mercs will just charge straight into Kunda. Thanks to you, they're gonna have a tougher job. That's about it. We just need to dig in and wait for the mercs to come. Well, I'll tell them what's there to do. I'm not much for words. All right, I'll assemble the men. I hope you can speak good. You're much better with words than me. I think it'll really help. Let's get ready for the mercenaries. If we fall here, all of Dantooine falls with us.
Tell me what you see, soldier.
They're mobilizing the militia. Looks like a lot of activity down there.
They've been warned. It won't be of any use. The plan doesn't change. Captains, prepare your men. Their leader, Administrator Tarina, must not survive the battle. Everything else is secondary to that objective.
What is it?
Inside.
So you're the Jedi. I take it you are responsible for the surprises we've had during this battle. Stand aside. Our quarrel is with a distinguished administrator. This isn't your problem. Then you've allied with these flaming settlers. The galaxy doesn't tolerate weakness. I was trained at Malak's academy. Your tricks won't work on me. You're just another dead Jedi to me.
Sorry I was held up, but it looks like I've arrived in time to pull you out of your predicament.
Kill them all.
Thank you so much for your aid. You can be sure that Donduin will not forget that the Jedi protected us from this trap. We are a humble community, and this conflict has greatly diminished our resources. I hope this reward will be sufficient. I am humbled by your generosity. I will put this to good use. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have much work to do. Donduin will be slow to rebuild, but I am confident now that we will one day achieve prosperity.
Kunda is safe in no small part due to you. I feel certain that the Administrator wouldn't have made it without your assistance. I may have misjudged you. In any case, I am free to talk about whatever you wish. There are a few of us left, but I do not even know if the others still live. We may be the last. We've been forced to divide our forces and retreat to places which will be difficult for our enemies to detect and attack. We have chosen to hide our presences from each other, so that the discovery of one will not endanger the others. We cannot. And we have resolved not to until we have found where the Sith are striking from. But even as our numbers thin, there is still no trace of them. We had hoped to outmaneuver them. By letting them believe themselves victorious, we thought they would become bold and step from the shadows. Then, all of us who remained vowed to meet here on Dantooine. From here, we can plan a course of action and carry the battle to them. But so far, they remain in hiding, and Jedi continue to vanish and die. Nar Shaddaa? Why would he go there? It is good that you bring word of him, but you must not speak of it to others. It will only put him and any other Jedi who remain in danger. We cannot. And we have resolved not to until we have found where the Sith are striking from. But even as our numbers thin, there is still no trace of them. We had hoped to outmaneuver them. By letting them believe themselves victorious, we thought they would become bold and step from the shadows. Nar Shaddaa. It is good that you bring word of him, but you must not. You have more. We were not in hiding, despite what you believe. This threat is striking through the Force. There's a reason that we cannot detect it. It is somehow masking its presence from us. I do not know. There are techniques in the Force that hide one's presence and thoughts from other Force users. But I do not believe that such techniques alone would be capable of hiding the enemies we face. It does not seem possible. Jedi sanctuaries, places of learning, conclaves, many of them secret, have been attacked. That requires that our enemy knew of our whereabouts, or had access to records and holocrons from the Enclave here on Dantooine. There was much Jedi teaching buried here before the planet was attacked. In the hands of our enemies, such knowledge could be used to track and kill Jedi, find other enclaves, gathering places. And so much has been plundered from here that now many secrets of the Jedi have been spread throughout the galaxy. So I did what I could, attempting to let myself be captured. I hoped that it would lead me to the Sith and the stolen artifacts. The Sith attacked this place once, and only they would seek the death of the Jedi with such obsession, and be able to be as successful as they have. With the destruction of Dantooine, it is difficult to sense the presence of any Force users here. If any Sith are here, I cannot detect them. Yes, perhaps I wish to see this place one more time. It has changed much, as I knew it had, but I had to see it for myself. You have more questions for me? Because you defied the Council and followed Revan to war. And from that war came another. Do you know how many worlds were destroyed in those wars? Dantooine, Telos, Sirocco? Do Do you see now why we counseled caution instead of action? You were the only one to come back and face judgment. But that was because you had lost your connection to the Force. Another casualty. No doubt you still blame us for your exile. I had hoped your isolation would give you time to reflect on what had happened, what you had done. But I see it as not. You have more questions for me? You have seen the end of your trial? Perhaps you would like to explain how you came to this knowledge. That was intended only for the Jedi Council. If what remains of the Council chooses to tell you, then I will abide by their decision and its consequences. There is little I can tell you. Master Kavar felt something had happened to you in the war, but all he had was suspicions, not truths. And Kavar was too close to you in any event. He, too, felt the call of war and took to battle more than a Jedi should. His speculations would not help you now, but enough of this. It is knowledge for the Council alone until they choose to reveal it. You have more questions for me? Force bonds? Yes. It is the bond that grows between master and student. Are you saying you have bonded with another? Such bonds normally grant strength to both, but not to such a degree. Are you certain? Perhaps it is merely what you believe. Still, your ability to form such connections, to influence others, was always a subject of discussion, even when you were a student here. Perhaps it is a punishment of a sort. But a bond that ties two lives together, such bonds do not seem natural to me. And with your loss of connection to the Force, it seems such a connection would be impossible. Perhaps it is Dantooine, but I do not feel such from you. I feel nothing but what I felt in the Council Judgment Chamber on Coruscant so long ago. Still, you and your connections were often a subject of debate in the Council. It is possible that returning to known space, journeying with others, has caused the Force to stir within you again. Do you have more questions for me? Have they? I've seen no evidence of them upon Dantooine. Only murderers and raiders. Why would they attack you? You are no Jedi. You cannot feel the Force. Perhaps it is Dantooine, but I do not feel such from you. Still, you and your it is possible that returning to known space, journeying with others, has caused the Force to stir within you again. Though it seems unlikely the Sith would bother with you. For some reason, I believe you. Still, I am curious as to how they would know to find you. Your trial was not public knowledge. Regardless, these Sith have struck, and you survived. This is more knowledge than I had before. And that means the Jedi may gather. If you can find others, or find some trace of the Sith threat, then we shall gather here on Dantooine. And from there we may decide what can be done. You have more questions for me? I suppose there is something I should show you. It will keep you alive long enough to prove useful. Now watch and learn. This form is a Taru. Because it is such an aggressive fighting style, you should only use it against single opponents. And don't try using this form amidst heavy fire. Nothing is more embarrassing for a Jedi than to be cut down by a stray blaster shot. I don't know how you learned that so quickly. Still, your form is sloppy. Keep practicing to tighten it up and you'll be fine.
What is it? Yes. Have you come with questions?
Very well. What is it that drives you? Very well. Of which did you... It allows you to recover your strength. It has no other drawbacks. Such a form is a gift, preferred of the Jedi Considerates, and effective in combats where you must fight only through the Force. Ask.
Diagnostic? For some reason, I cannot fire. Obvious statement. This was not anticipated. I am attempting to access my weapon systems, and I cannot. Alarmed embarrassment. If this gets back to the other units, we will be decommissioned.
What is it?
We travel to, the more questions I have. It's not just the hardships of the people, but something more. You are right, but there is something more at work here. Yes, these dead worlds, they have a pattern to them. They were all touched by the Mandalorian Wars and the Jedi Civil War. But sometimes I feel as if they are all connected in some other way. The attacks on Qatar, Telos itself, the decay on Dantooine. Something is wrong with life. The connections have been damaged. sickened. Sometimes I feel like I almost understand and then it just slips away.
So close.
Perhaps. Dantooine is only one of the worlds. It was only the start of the journey. I would like to study the other locations. It is curious that the Jedi Masters chose those worlds to travel to. I wonder if the two are linked, but I know not how.
Yeah, something wrong? Shoot. It's all this traveling, being trapped in the ship. Everything's just too quiet. I'd rather be doing something, somewhere with people, activity, some life. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been off planet. Guess I got used to it. Well, Nar Shaddaa may be one of the biggest cesspits in the galaxy, but it's got a life to it. Activity, aliens, people, refugees. It's like noise, but relaxing. Like the hum of a hyperdrive. Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. I'll believe it when I see it. No thanks. You can keep your Jedi training to yourself.
I am prepared both in mind. I understand now. Such a I do not understand, but the choice is mine whether you permit it or not.
There is something I have observed, and now I have found your presence to be inspiring. With your growth in the Force, you seem to have found your center, and throughout the dangers we face, you remain calm and focused. I understand now why others followed you to war. Perhaps that is what leadership is. And it is something I have seen in only a few during my travels. In any event, it has been some time since I traveled with a Jedi, nor one so firmly upon the path. I wanted to thank you. I fear the stories that were spoken of you have misrepresented you. And if I have the opportunity, I shall reverse them whenever they arise. Very well. Then I shall keep my favorable opinions to myself. Forgive me, but you are that Jedi. but the records are somewhat evasive on why this was done. I wanted to discuss why you chose to leave the Jedi Order and accept exile. I see. And because you went to war, they cast you out? Do you have a record of this trial? Perhaps I shall examine it when I get the chance, with your permission. I appreciate your trust. Thank you.
Well, this is Onderon. Looks like there's a long line to get into the ISIS starport.
Something feels wrong here. A great disturbance here in orbit, and again on the planets below.
I guess this blockade is a symptom of larger problems on Onderon.
If they decide to do a cargo search, we're gonna be in trouble.
Looks like we're about to find out. I'm receiving a message from some Colonel Tobin. Patching it through.
The Ebon Hawk. I was told to expect your arrival. I don't know your business on Onderon, but it ends here.
We've taken some hits. We can try to fight back, or I can outrun them and hide us on the jungle moon nearby. It's your call.
You know, just once I wish someone was glad to see us. But no, if it isn't weapons pointed at our heads, it's someone trying to blast us out of the sky. I remember the days when welcoming committee used to mean something, without being followed by blaster bolts. It's taken a little damage, nothing too serious. I'm shutting down all unnecessary systems until we make repairs. It'll keep us from being a target. Looks like one of the moons of Onderon. Not sure which one. It's mostly jungle and mountain. I did pick up the remains of an old outpost near here. Maybe that's why there's all these clearings around. Maybe they were once settlements.
There were no settlements here. Those clearings were most likely once craters or crash sites.
Crash sites?
This is Duxon, where the Mandalorians began their crusade against the Republic. The remains of whatever outposts you detected here are military ones. We should be careful.
This is where the Mandalorian Wars started? This doesn't look like much of a battlefield.
Much is buried here, and there is much that should remain buried.
Until the ship is repaired, we're not going anywhere. Unless you can find another route to Onderon, we should sit tight.
There may be a means to get to Onderon by another route. The Force has guided us here for a reason. We should explore our surroundings. There is something here.
Something? Oh, there's something here, all right. Predators. Not small flit darters, but big, mean, nasty predators.
Nevertheless, we should explore our surroundings. And that nearby outpost would be as good a place as any to begin.
Well, if you go, be careful. No telling what other ships were forced down in the battle.
I have a feeling the ship will not be repaired until our business here is concluded. Do I make myself clear?
Yeah, I understand. What's so important about this place?
This is where the Mandalorian Wars began. She fought here once, and there are things here she must see.
She fought here? Why didn't she say anything?
Do you speak of all your battles? Or are there some you wish to forget?
Query, is there someone that you need killed, Master? Ratio achieved. Optimal accuracy ratio achieved. Switching to combat mode. Optimal accuracy ratio achieved. Acknowledgement.
What is it?
Switching to combat mode. Assassination protocol initiated. Engaging.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That Colonel Tobin stirred up a Minox nest when he took a shot at us. I'm still working on the repairs, and I have to take down some systems, including sensors. So you have to do without me for a while. I know, you're crushed.
What is it?
Donos emeregi, ora ci trunca sa in ciovin sasha, dosimana rachanda, naranamosim wendasarans, crema sukun ratungala, chami moju kosaracha. Febko emeream da watasito insula rakarakachata, tamasokin juda waka, mopigona wala si chukoratawa. Josimu poinda rakawa ichi rendu oparama kawana abawasi. Yo kroren man mapusitin nolara. Donos emeregi, wanara korachi drunka sa inchobin sasha. Dosimana rachata.
Yes.